Hi everyone, this is Leonie. I'm just going to do a very brief overview on some of the things that you need to consider when you are creating your website. I've made up just a dummy website here, and I'm just going to walk you through some of the features that I think are quite important for when you are developing your own. Now, I've made this in Weebly, but it's irrelevant what platform you use. It's more about the design features and the navigation that you use. So I've just called mine the digital classroom. This is my landing page, and as you can see, I don't have a great deal on it. What you find with a lot of the templates that are available, when you select a template, it actually populates it with lots and lots of separate sections, and they tend to scroll down the page. One of the most important design features with websites is on your landing page or your home page, you shouldn't have a lot of information. It's called a landing page for that reason. You land on it. It's the first page that people usually see, and then you point them in the direction of other pages which would have most of the information. So don't have all of your information on the first page. This is the only page that I'd put a large image on like this. Often with websites, the whole page will be an image, and then you'll have things like the tabs that I've got down the bottom here, and also across the toolbar at the top. So you should give your website a title, which I have here, the digital classroom. Here you can see these are the pages that are on the website here. So I've got the home page, which is this one. I've created a master page, which is going to show you some of the features that you should have on each of your pages. Then I've got one called What Not to Do, so that will highlight some of the things that I'm hoping I won't see on your websites. And these are the pages. Now, obviously, you'll have different pages for the topics that you've chosen and your reference page here. Now, I've actually put writing over the top here. It's fairly visible. One of the features that is on the What Not to Do page is make sure if you do have writing over an image like that it's quite easy to see. You might want to put something like a quote from somewhere. It's just something that's quite catchy on your home page. A small description or explanation about what your website's about. So that's about the length that I would put on. And then each of these is a link off to the various topics that you're going to be looking at. So if we go to the master page, and remember we work from the left to the right, so put your pages in the order that you would actually want people to see them. Okay, so on each of your pages, you should have a title so that when you're in that site or on that page, people know what that topic is about. You would have a bit of an introduction to explain what your topic is. Now, I've just put on here just a reminder to you that one of your pages will need to have a written summary, one will need to have an auditory summary, and one as your visual presentation. But you can add extra things to your pages as well if you want to. So on here, I've just created a Wordle in WordArt, just with words about digital literacy and pedagogy. You've all done one of these before. They're fairly easy to do, so you would embed it as a JPEG. You can also hyperlink them and make them larger as well. So this is just a function that is often on your web builder that actually allows you to make the image larger if you wish to. I've also embedded a YouTube video here just on 21st century skills, so hopefully you'll have a couple of your own videos, but if not, you might be able to find a TED talk or something on YouTube that's quite relevant for your topic. Okay, so if you made a master page, then you can duplicate that page just so that everything remains standard. Okay, so on the What Not to Do, this is just an example, as I mentioned before, of having an image and then having text over the top that is really difficult to read. So make sure if you do that, that you've got enough contrast with your text against your image, or you could actually even make your image transparent or take the transparency down so that the text actually stands out. So that's one of the things not to do. Also, make sure that your images are relevant for your topics. Again, because often if you choose a template, the images there are what they think the theme should be, and a lot of people don't actually replace the images with something more relevant. So if your website's about digital literacy and technology in curriculum, you wouldn't expect to see food pictures or yoga pictures or any of those sorts of things, which are often the kinds of images that are on these templates. So get rid of all of the images that are not relevant. Try not to make the font size too small, as you can see down here. Often when you bring text in, it might go to the smallest font. You can actually make the font size larger, so you need it to be at least 12. So something like this would be okay. This is too small. It's very difficult for people to read. And remember that some people might be reading these on an iPad or an iPhone, so you want the text to be a reasonable size. As you see here, I've made this little slideshow. One thing, if you do create a slideshow, make sure the pace of these slides is slow enough that people can actually read it. So if they're coming through too fast, people are just going to get frustrated because they're not going to be able to read what's there. So you can change the speed at which they come in. These ones are coming in at every 3 seconds. So you'd want it to be at least between, say, 6 and 9 or 7 and 10, depending on how much information you've got on each of the slides. Another thing that people tend to do is to write in all capital letters, and this is an absolute no-no when you are writing great big chunks of text, and some of you will have been pulled up for that on your infographic. Having all capital letters is okay if you're going to emphasize something, like in here where I've got do not, or for a title, but not for massive chunks of text. It should be in your normal script. Okay, so let's have a look at a couple of the different pages. So I've just done a cyberbullying one, and I've just put in some different features again just to get you thinking about the kinds of things that you might want to put in. So this slideshow here, it comes from a website called SlideShare. Oops, wrong one. Here we go. So this is my SlideShare account, and you can find lots of different slideshows on here that you can embed yourself. So this one was called Transmedia Storytelling. So I just went to the share button and it actually brought up the HTML code. So you can either put a link in or you can get this embed code. Now don't worry what it says. All you need to do is copy it and then you can bring it back to your website. So this is my editing site here, and it will look something like this, the little widget. So you would drag this across into your website like this. Whoops. And then you would paste that code in. Okay, so there, it allows you to paste the code. Okay, so you'll have something similar in yours. So I've done that in the cyberbullying one, and this is the slideshow, and it's actually embedded in the website. So if you create your multimedia presentation in something like PowerPoint, you can actually go in, sign up to SlideShare, and then you can import your PowerPoint into here, and it will generate one of these sorts of presentations that will allow you to embed it into your website. So that's what I've done there. Now remember also with Padlet, this is our Padlet that we created on cyberbullying. So all I've gone and done is went into the Padlet, the cyberbullying Padlet, and up here in the share, or you always just need to look for where the share button is, and here you can either get a link or embed into your blog or website. So I just clicked on that and you copy the code and you do exactly the same sort of thing. So that's how these things come into your website. It's very, very simple to do. You just need to go on and get that embed code and use the embed widget. And I've put a little explanation down here for you as well. Now you might also want to add extra resources like a resource list. So as well as the information that you've put on each of your pages, this could be like further reading or a deep dive into the topic, and also indicates that you've gone off and found other resources about that particular site as well. Now, obviously, if you've got to do an audio, you would actually have the link to your audio here, and the script would be written down onto that particular page. Okay, so digital curation was another topic that I'm particularly interested in. So here again are some different things that you can do. So this again is a slideshow that I've done, and I've just done this using PowerPoint. So you can create and put these things into PowerPoint, and then you save them as an individual JPEG, and then you can bring the slideshow widget, which is up here for this tool. So you drag that across, and then you just add the actual images, and then it will create the slideshow for you. So that's what I've done there. Here's some examples of some different content curation tools that are hyperlinked. As soon as you get that little hand, it's a hyperlink. Try to actually have the hyperlink embedded underneath so that you don't have lots of HTTP things written there, because it actually makes it quite messy. So you can create hyperlinks within your text. Now this is an example again of something that I've embedded, and this was in Scoopit. So I went in and created a Scoopit to do with content curation. This is the page here. You can see my name up here, so this is my account, and there it's got integration instead of share, but it's exactly the same thing. If you press on integration, you can pick the size of it and then finish and grab the code, and there's the code there. Again, you just copy and paste the code in. So it just makes your pages a little bit more interesting as well, and those things are actually live within your website. Okay, now I've just put this ICT in the curriculum in. This is the link to the ICT general capability. I know you have to put your scripts in for your multimedia presentation and your audio, and that hopefully is the only time I would see it being really text dense. So try and break up your text a little bit with your images as well. Have things like dot points. This is an example again of a light box where you can actually just highlight the image if you want to as well. Okay, Transmedia was the other one, and this again has got a slide share in it, and this is an image, the Jerry Jenkins one, or Henry Jenkins, that I showed you in the presentation before. And there's the Inanimate Alice and Bear 71 that I mentioned. So if you're going to look at those, you might want to grab those. And here is a link to the actual presentation that I did on Transmedia. I've had to put it into a Google Doc because it's so large. So if you'd like to go back and revisit that, there's the link there for you to access it. And obviously you would have references, a reference page, which will be APA 7th. And also don't forget to include references for your images. Okay, so that's, yeah, very quick overview. I'm going to make this into a YouTube video now. So that's the other thing that you can do, is once you do your presentation, you could upload it into YouTube if you wish to. I'm using a program called Screencast-O-Matic to actually record this. You can have a free version of it that will allow you to create a little MP4 video like this one. So hopefully that will give you a few ideas and hints and tips of the sorts of things that you can do for your final presentation. Okay, good luck.